I believe I speak for everyone in saying that in an ideal scenario, having a child should be a matter of personal choice, not dictated by financial, legal, or medical constraints in particular. But in scenarios such as these, it is assisted reproductive technology that has come to the rescue of so many childless couples and allowed them and empowered them to experience parenthood. So today we're all gathered here at a gathering of all relevant stakeholders, from Bollywood celebrities to everyday citizens, from lawmakers to Indian medicine's movers and shakers, in an attempt to address this very topic, the future of fertility. So Dr. Pai, I'd like to start with you. Research indicates that in our country alone, upwards of 25 million couples actively trying to conceive are falling victim to infertility. And it is in vitro fertilization that has introduced a ray of hope in their lives and allowed them to dream of becoming a parent. So for an outsider looking in, what is IVF and what isn't it?
Like you mentioned, more than 10% of the population faces some difficulty in becoming pregnant. Not all of them need assisted reproduction. Many of them become pregnant with simple treatment like medicines and some injections and planned, relations. But small percentage of that do need assistance with IVF. In vitro fertilization is now a 40-year-old technology, very standardized and gives excellent outcomes. It started originally for women who had blocked tubes, but today IVF is being used almost as a panacea for all problems, whether it is a difficulty for a male factor infertility, very low sperm count, whether it is a badly damaged uterus, whether she's having recurrent miscarriages, or just no reason at all but not becoming pregnant. So in vitro fertilization, where essentially we give the woman injections to produce a number of eggs. Those eggs are removed with a small needle in a 10-minute procedure. The eggs are fertilized with the husband's sperm, and within 3 to 5 days, the ready-made embryos of tiny babies are transplanted back into the uterus in half-a-minute procedure. So the technique is really very, very standard and simple and seems to give excellent outcomes in today's time.
A fascinating overview there, and I'd like to build on that. And Dr. Pai, I pose my next question to you. It's been said that latest developments in assisted reproductive technology truly leave no couple behind. So my question to you is, are these modern day approaches rendering the previous traditional tried and true method of pregnancy obsolete?
As Rishma said, that only 10% of patients really need IVF. So the old traditional methods are very important, and we need to first and foremost try to find out what is the cause of the infertility. And most of the time, if there is an ovulatory cause, by giving simple medicine, you can actually achieve pregnancy. And if suppose there is a tubal blockage, for example, you can try to do surgical methods of correcting the block. And if there is any other problem, suppose there is no problem at all, then we can do what is known as intrauterine insemination, where we can give simple medicine and time the follicle and see when the ovulation is occurring, and at that time we can collect the sperm, wash it and put the best quality sperms inside. So with all these methods, nearly 90% people will achieve pregnancy. Only in those patients that fail to achieve pregnancy with these simple methods that we would go in for in vitro fertilization, as Rishma has rightly pointed out.
And Dr. Nandita, there's so much talk today about women freezing their eggs. And my question to you is, as a medical professional, is this an approach to pregnancy that you endorse? And if so, what are the associated risks and rewards?
I think you need to look at it very differently. Women freezing eggs, this technology actually started for those girls who were suffering from cancer, and then they were treated, and today life exists after cancer. So obviously, they got married, they wanted to have children, and their ovaries were damaged. So this is how the treatment came across, that we need to do fertility preservation. And then these young girls, the fertility preservation came up in a big way. The eggs are being frozen, their ovaries are being frozen. In fact, if the girl is not adolescent, she's 12 years and not yet got her period, we can actually freeze her ovaries. And I think that's a beautiful technology. then the indications expanded. You know, there were lots of patients who had recurrent surgeries like endometriosis, different tumors of the ovary where we need to go in and repeatedly operate on that ovary. And that ovary also gets damaged. So these are the patients where we offer egg freezing. And today, what is available, and I think I know what you're talking about, is egg freezing for social reasons. I think we have come a long way. You know, we have progressed a lot. Today, we're talking about women empowerment, giving them, making them safer, smarter, stronger type. And that is why we need to offer them this egg freezing. Because I know so many girls, so many patients who come to me. They're young, they are, want their career, they want to educate themselves, and time flies. The biological clock is ticking. So this is one way to stop that biological clock from ticking, and you can do it. And I personally feel that it gives freedom to women, it gives freedom to girls to pursue their career, to do their education, or even to wait for the Mr. Right guy. So definitely, yes, I am for egg freezing, but we need to understand how it all began. So it began with a medical reason, and the applications have widened massively today.
And Swara, would you believe that just having this freedom of fertility treatments, having options in front of you, is that a form of female empowerment in your view?
Definitely, I think that every development that has taken place in the field of assisted reproduction is actually something that is a wonderful example of how science is actually liberating, perhaps unconsciously, women from traditional, different kinds of traditional limitations that biology may have placed on them, society may have placed on them, health situation may have placed on them. And I just want to say that, today when I was coming, I was thinking about it. It's so interesting. Female reproduction is something that everyone is so concerned with. Society is concerned with it. Religion is concerned with it, because many religions put, they put strictures and they have laws against, controlling reproduction. Law is concerned with it. Our parliament is concerned with it. There's a bill on surrogacy which is up for debate. And it's almost as if something that should really be a woman's personal choice with her partner and maybe with her family and gynecologist consult is something that everyone is so super concerned about. And it's interesting because it just shows you how deeply, I'm sorry I'm using a loaded term, but how deeply patriarchy is invested in controlling female reproduction. And assisted reproduction is actually something that offers a chance to liberate women, to empower them, and to give the choice to them. And as a young working woman who is now stepped into the dark side, and that is the 30 plus, 30 threshold, I'm so concerned and I'm so thankful to be born and living in this generation where these are options that are available to me, where my career doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be an either or. Family and career don't have to be an either or situation, which must have been such a big reality for so many ambitious working girls, in a different generation. So I can just say that I'm very grateful, and it's so surreal because yesterday my mother has asked me, Farah, what are your views about IVF and will you freeze your eggs? And I was drinking my tea and I was like, Mummy, why suddenly? But it's great that in families now this conversation is becoming acceptable, that mothers are actually taking this lead and putting this, like she's like, अच्छा शादी नहीं करोगे तो क्या बच्चे भी नहीं करोगे? And I'm like, what? Am I listening to this correctly? Like, is my mother actually saying that there is, that there is some other option? And I mean, I think it's, so I think it's hugely liberating, not just empowering. It is empowering, it's also liberating.
And Poonam ma'am, my next question is to you. Surrogacy used to be surrounded with so much stigma, and as of now, that seems to be washed over entirely with the new wave of acceptance. Do we have Bollywood to credit for that?
Well, Bollywood, I would definitely give the credit for bringing it out into the open. And I think spreading knowledge is so important. And somehow when there's a Bollywood person or a celebrity who talks about something openly, there were days when people used to do things very secretly and they would disappear for a few months and come back with a baby and say, ye to mera hi bachcha hai. Whereas it was probably not that true. But today people are openly accepting the fact that there may be a need for surrogacy. That could be for various reasons. It's not necessarily vanity which would be the reason. It could be total health related reason, body related need. There are a lot of people who cannot naturally carry their own child. I know of instances within our industry, they have had multiple miscarriages and somehow the uterus is not holding the child. So the only option for them is to borrow a uterus. So I think this whole debate about the evils of surrogacy vis-a-vis the benefits of surrogacy needs to be looked at very, very carefully. Because I always say that anything good can have a few ramifications which can be misused. So you can't throw the baby with the bathwater. So you have to understand the millions who are going to benefit by not ever able to carry their own child. Could be as a aftermath of an illness like cancer, being exposed to chemo, could be just being born without it. I believe even tuberculosis, one of the side effects is that you can get infertile, not your uterus cannot carry it. So yes, Bollywood has brought it into the open, which I think we should be grateful to. And also today's society, we must talk about that we have relationships which are not the traditional man-woman relationships, but they are human beings who also want to have children.
My next question, and I think I'm stating the obvious in saying that there is no substitute. When it comes to any fertility treatment, there is no substitute for first-hand experience. So, Satish ji, I throw the floor to you and I ask that you open up to us and share your personal journey with the audience.
This discussion was really getting heated up, but I must tell you that today, me, Satish Kaushik, who's sitting the happiest person in the world, is because of this assisted reproduction, because of my friend Poonam Dhillo. From Poonam Dhillo, I got connected to Nandita Palsitkar, then to Reshma Pai, then to Rishikesh Pai. हमारी हिंदी फिल्मों में एक डायलॉग होता है, भगवान मेरी सूनी गोद भर दे यार. तो मेरे लिए तो ये भगवान है असल में. You are like God to me. You are God to me because people tell me that I feel they look very happy seeing me, watching me on the screen. But I tell you, it is a very coincidental thing today. Coincidental day is a coincidence that today is 2nd March. And 1995, I had lost my 2-year-old son today at this hour only, And after that, my life was totally in shambles. I was working day and night. I was a busy actor. I was a busy director. I was working back to back in films. I had no time even to mourn the death of my son. And after that, how we say in our society that I was very unlucky. My wife was unlucky. We didn't have child for so many years, and then this assisted reproduction came, which gave me so much happiness. I remember Poonam's one birthday party, which in near 2010 or something in some Worli pub, and where Rishikesh came to me and said, I don't know how we used to meet socially, and he told me, Satish, I want to give you a child. You are such a happy person, but there is something sadness about you, which I can read, and I want to make you happy. And I said, doctor, please. And he pushed me. Then I realized, my God, when I held Vanshika in my hand, she is 7 years, she will be 7 years now. I felt like I'm the top of the world. Today she has made me relive. So I think assisted reproduction and this talk what we are having is not kind of, it doesn't have bars, it should not have bars and demarcations. It is such an emotional thing. It is such a happy thing to make people happy. It makes everyone happy. Whether the person, I remember the kind of process I went through, which was very pure, very clear and very transparent. A form was filled, a person was selected, she was given money, she was taken care properly. Every time there used to be a mail to me that how this surrogate mother is being taken care of and what she is eating and what kind of life she is going to have. Because when you conceive and when you're carrying a child in your womb, you have to be happy and you have to be looked after. So I think this whole process of curbing it is absolutely wrong. Yes, we have to abide by laws, but laws can change also, because if it gives some kind of an emotional anchor to somebody, like today I'm sitting, if I'm emotionally attached, I have got my life back. I feel like a young person because of Vanshika, because of Dr. Rishikesh Pai, that he pushed me. So apart from all the discussions what we have is, I think it gives happiness to people, happiness, emotional anchor to people. Today I feel proud of Vanshika that she's, and I have told it very openly. The day I decided, when I brought her home, I told her to my friends, and my friends, made me feel so good, and they were so happy to see me happy, So I think this is a great act done by science, a great step for moving forward in our lives. So means I have no words to say that on this day, which is like a sad day for me whenever I think of my son. But today when we are discussing this major step towards science, technology and making people happy, I think this is a great act done by all these great doctors, which has given so much happiness to people. That's what I think.
Now, Dr. Pai, just a few moments ago, you brought up cutting-edge technologies that are shaping fertility. And one term that you mentioned was gene therapy. And gene therapy, to my understanding, offers you the ability to sort of prevent the onset of disease. So is that the stage we're at? Is the future of fertility essentially genetically engineering the fetus so that babies can be born disease-free? Where does gene therapy fit into fertility treatment?
So basically now we are at the, at the interface. The initial treatment was you did IVF, and then when the embryo was there, you took a biopsy of the embryo and analyzed it for disease. Like in our country, we have a lot of thalassemia, which was single gene defect. People, if they have a major child, it's a trauma and many children die. We have got a sickle cell in the whole of Madhya Pradesh and all, nearly 600,000 sickle cell babies are there. So what we can do is we can actually do IVF and we can select the embryo and put the normal embryo back. It's a fantastic breakthrough. We have started doing it. All our professionals here are doing it. And because of that, a lot of people are getting pregnant because of, I was actually talking to one person in Madhya Pradesh. He said, Doctor, the disease is so prevalent that people don't want to marry into the family where there is a sickle cell. For many women are not being getting married because family has sickle cell anemia. So this is one part of the gene treatment, diagnosing abnormality. The second part, which is the breakthrough part, is the trying to edit those genes. We can actually diagnose the embryo. Now at present we are discarding those embryos. We can not correct those embryos, but that is a lot of controversy because at present we can't put the embryos back because gene editing is a controversial area. There's a lot of ethical problems involved in that part of our line. But I feel that, but this is my personal opinion, every breakthrough in science has to go ahead. We can control it. Everyone say, oh, you can edit genes, so tomorrow we can have a color. I mean, how foolish a statement it is. Are we talking about eye color or skin color? We are talking about editing embryos with, we have the autosomal dominant disorders where all the babies are abnormal. So you have to use it for treating those babies. You can have restrictions and then do the treatment. So it has a huge vista. It's a very exciting, we are going to the next 20 years are going to be exciting for all of us. We have started from a small treatment of infertility and we are evolving into the next era of total different kind of scientific development.
So we're reading so much about reversing menopause, and rejuvenating one's ovaries. How much credibility is there to these claims?
Again, as Dr. Pai Rishikesh mentioned, that some of these things are experimental. In fact, today morning I was having a discussion with one of the doctors. You know, when I was in Copenhagen learning the technology of ovarian tissue freezing, so when I'd gone there, he was freezing an ovary and teaching me how to do it. So I asked him what was the patient. This was a young girl of 25 who had removed the ovary and sent it across. And we were freezing it. So her history was her mother achieved menopause at the age of 35. Her older sister got menopause at 32. And she was worried that she will attain premature menopause. So we took out the ovary, froze it, and whenever she achieved menopause, we can put that ovary back in piece by piece and achieve a natural hormone replacement therapy. That means prevent menopause for nearly 10 years. So yes, it is being done for cancer patients, etc. And there are a lot of now techniques where we inject, platelet-rich plasma into the ovary, we inject stem cells into the ovary. There is a technology which was just published, last year, where they activated the ovarian tissue of menopausal women, put it back in, and she produced eggs. So yes, a lot of things. I don't know whether we'll go back to those old days where, you had that Amrit which will give you life forever. So maybe it was something like this, and we'll be probably, looking at menopause, bye-bye.